Whoa, hello. All right, that was fun. Hello everybody.
Hello.
So today on this video, we're at Stony Creek Metro Park. It's a local trail, at least it's local for us in Southeast Michigan. And what we're doing today is, we're testing out these bikes. Cory's already had this for a while, so she's got some good testing in it. But this one just arrived today in the mail. So this is a 2021 Commencal Meta HT race. And over here, we have Cory's bike, which is a Meta Junior, because she's tiny, so she needs a kid's bike. All right, so we're gonna go over the specs really quickly first before we get on riding, and then I'll let you know how I feel about the geo, the specs and everything as we ride. Cory's bike is no longer stock, but I'm also gonna go through that a little bit so you know what's there. And then we'll ask how she's been liking the bike the past few months. Right, love? Okay. You look like you're embarrassed or something. What's going on?
Yeah, I am embarrassed.
All right, so let's start with my bike. It's mostly a Shimano setup. You got the Shimano Dior brakes. They're only a dual piston each side, 200 rotor in the front, or 203 to be specific, 180 in the rear. So it's all Dior, but you know what? Just testing it on the sidewalk earlier and stuff, I really like it. What else is important here? Fox 36 suspension, 150 travel with the grip damper, nothing too fancy there. These dissector tires, front and rear, 2.4s, 29 wheels. I think they're gonna be perfect for what we have in Southeast Michigan. It has just enough grip if we want to do something crazy, but not too much that it's gonna be terrible to pedal. So now let's get to Cory's bike. All right, since it is a kid's bike, we had to change a lot of stuff because they don't typically spec kids bikes very well. It originally had a Recon fork, and if you guys follow the channel, you know that we got a Lyric for her Spectral, so we put her old pike from her 2018 Spectral onto this bike. And then you might notice that she only has one of the brakes, just the rear brake. Magura MT Trails, it had some awful weak brakes before. I don't even remember what they were, but they weren't great. And if you're wondering why it's just the one, it's because, as everybody knows, Cory has an issue with the front brake, so we're just trying to get her used to not constantly slamming the front brake. Got to get used to using the rear more, especially since we're more focused on descending. Swapped out the saddle. The original was just too big and bulky, and Cory loves her SDG Allure. The dropper post, yes. Swapped it out with something much longer. Of course, wolf tooth lever to go with that. It originally had a KS dropper, I believe. Not the most exciting dropper. I mean, you always want to maximize on travel. So this is the longest we could go, where it's not just slamming against the frame, and it's perfect for Cory. Any other changes? Oh, absolute black oval chainring, just to make it easier on the knees. But otherwise stock. So this, with Cory's bike, it's going to be less of a review and it's going to be more of a review of how it handles, maybe geometry wise, because a lot of the main stuff has been changed except for the drivetrain, really. But on my bike, it's going to be a review of the bike as is stock, and then towards the end I'm going to give you my ideas on a couple things that I would change myself. So anywho, that's enough of that. I've just gone on a 4-minute rant about these bikes, so we're going to go ahead and get to riding. You ready, love?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's go. So in case you're wondering why we got hardtails, it's because it's a pain in the butt to haul around an enduro or a trail bike in Southeast Michigan, because the trails here aren't that crazy. You don't really need all that suspension. So, to make it more exciting, we got these bikes, and we decided to go with something that's more on the slacker side because, of course, we focus on descending. All right, so we're at the trailhead here, and just from that little bit of climbing, I can say, wow, this is just so much easier to climb than the Meta TR that I have now. Fork feels great, running 81 PSI there with one token. Tires feel good, and shifting is freaking amazing. People give it crap, Dior, oh, you gotta go to XT at least for the shifter, but even though it's single shift to the harder gears, I still love it. Lever, not a fan for the dropper post, I mean. And plus the dropper post is a little slow. So far that is my biggest thing with this bike, but everything else, love it. Now let's see how it rides. Ready, love? Ready. All right. Wish us luck, peeps. I hope I don't crash on the first freaking ride. Ooh. Gonna take it slow since I'm not too familiar with the bike yet. So already the dropper post not being long enough kind of gets in the way when I'm trying to lean the bike over on the turns. There's like one thing that I would change right away. Get a longer dropper, because a medium, you know, it needs more than 150 mm of drop. Heck, I got a 210 on my full suspension bike. That's probably what I'm gonna do here. Get a 210, one up. Brakes aren't bedded in yet. And I already left Cory behind. Oh, there she is. That's not a switchback, love. That's just a regular turn. Let's test out the shifting a little more. It does shift surprisingly well under load. Loving the new Hyperglide Plus or whatever it's called. So much easier to set up than a SRAM drivetrain. So they got the little notch on the derailleur, which is cool. And also, it's a freaking hardtail. You don't have to worry about compensating for the suspension when you set up the derailleur. All right. This is gonna be a great bike for messing around on the local stuff, that's for sure. It's gonna save me on maintenance too, not just using one bike for everything like I've done for the past 2 years with the Remedy. Whew, I spent so much time in the garage taking that thing apart and re-greasing it so many times. So much maintenance when you only have one bike. All right, let's see how she descends. Feels so natural. Doesn't feel that different from my full suspension bike. I'd probably feel it once I start hitting chunkier stuff with it. But for the local stuff here, this thing is freaking perfect. If you live in an area with flatter trails, this is a pretty good choice. If you're not that interested in XC and you're looking to just have fun descending and stuff. So, you know, save your money, get yourself a hardtail, unless you're going out of town a lot. In which case, might as well get that full suspension bike, right? All right, we have some more descending coming up. See how it is going through these rocks and roots. Not bad at all. It feels so natural. Coming up. Thank you, sir. All right. Whew. All right. Yeah, I was a little worried about not having any suspension over roots and rocks and stuff, but I guess it's fine. I mean, the XC dudes seem to do really well here. So, never underestimate a hardtail. Loving this bike. What else is something that I might change on this bike? The dropper post, absolutely, 100%. The brakes, maybe. If you're riding maybe something steeper or crazier or riding faster, you might want 4-pot brakes. But for now, probably gonna hold on to these Dior's. Ooh, I gotta remember to be more conscious of my line choice here now. Can't just plow through everything. Although this does plow pretty well. That slack head angle sure helps. Especially when it comes to hardtails. If you're looking for a hardtail trail bike, the slacker the better. Because unlike a full suspension, when you put your weight on a hardtail, it becomes steeper. On a full suspension bike, it actually becomes slacker as it sinks into the travel. So if you have two bikes, one a full suspension, one a hardtail, then you're actually gonna want your hardtail slacker than your full suspension for them to feel similar. All right, More climbing. Loving these tires so far, actually. Dissectors. Pedal well. Grip well. No clue how it works in the wet. I guess we'll see as the fall months come. Oh, these tires lean well. And I'm not going that fast, but the grip is pretty freaking good. I wonder if they make these in 2.5s.
Easier, right, honey?
Yeah, it is. And I love the way the bike handles. It just feels right. And I'm not really missing the rear suspension here. Really hardly notice it's gone. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah? Yeah, I bet I'd feel it if I do a drop somewhere. Thing is, Stony Creek doesn't have any drops to test it
I
on.
mean, those small little drops.
Yeah?
I can feel it here.
Oh, so far I haven't really felt anything here. All right. Got a little log jump thing here. Let's see how that feels. It's just a pile of logs that we like to jump sometimes. Whew. Oh, just got bucked a little bit there. I'm instinctively like trying to push my rear suspension down for that jump, but I don't have any. Oh, so I know I said earlier that I didn't change anything on this bike, but I just realized I did change one thing. Actually trimmed down the bars just slightly. About a 1/4 inch each side. You know, just so I don't clip any trees. And I don't usually have my hands out that wide. So might as well trim down the little bit that I'm not using. No need to have it. And then I'm gonna clip a tree or something, you know? All right. So that's about it. And I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. This bike really doesn't need anything changed. Even though I did say if I would change anything, it would be the dropper post, maybe the brakes, but really the way it is, it's freaking perfect. I'd say 99% of riders would be just happy with the way it is. Whew. Skipped all those roots. Nice. That felt great. Wow. It's snappy. So anyway, if you've been thinking of buying this bike, then you probably should. It is Duke approved. And keep in mind, I am not sponsored. I know that we have 3 Commencal bikes in our garage now, but it just kind of worked out that way. Not sponsored at all. I wish. But this is a great bike for 95% of the stuff that's here in Michigan, I'd say. Maybe if you go to the UP, then I'll be overwhelmed. But if you're really skilled, even there you'll probably be fine. Hell, even if you're not that freaking skilled. Because I know I'm not. Mediocre at best. All right, almost done with the trail. Last little bit here. And then we'll see how Cory feels about her junior. And I'm gonna point out the one thing that really bugs me about it, but not that much now. All right. Hello. That was fun. All right. So what about you, love? What do you think about your bike?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah?
It's easy to pedal.
That's one thing.
Suspension.
Yep. What else do you like about it, love?
I mean, I don't have anything to compare to. This is my first legit hardtail.
Yeah, but you know, you can compare it to your full suspension.
Ah,
Like geo-wise, size-wise, very similar to the Spectral.
yeah, it's slacker.
Yeah. The only thing that really bugs me is the rear isn't boost, and it uses these skewer axle thingies. I don't even know what they're called, but that's a thing. And yeah, it just makes it so if you bust your rear wheel, you can't just swap it out from another bike. But otherwise, everything is great. All right, so thanks for joining us on our mini adventure, riding our hardtails and me just yapping into the camera for what felt like an hour straight. And we'll see you on the next one.
Goodbye.
All right, peeps. Let's go home, love you dudes.